The longer you delay them, the more you put them off, the more you're passive about it. Not only does it become more difficult in your business, but it sends a message to everyone else in the business that you're not really committed to the business. And when you're not committed to the business, it sends a message that they shouldn't be committed to the business either. The whole purpose of this show is to engage with business owners and be able to answer questions for people that will give them some insight and perspective on how to grow and scale a business. Not only leadership, but real life examples. This is the golden moment. I would do business with you right now. Hey everybody, welcome to 10X Owners Live. We are excited to be on the set in Miami, Florida with all of you amazing people.
Hello, you guys. I'm just so pumped about that intro. I finally made it on the intro video. I see some people nodding their heads. How long have I been talking about this? It's been at least a year and a half. It finally got done. Huge kudos to our marketing team. They listened last week. Anyway, that was awesome. For those of you who don't know us, my name is Natalie Dawson. This is my incredible husband, Brandon Dawson, and we are here to help business owners scale and grow. We come here every single Tuesday night on this awesome show called 10X Owners Live in order to meet you guys, to hear about business challenges, and to also talk through some content as we're learning how to scale and grow our business as well.
So I love the questions game.
That was so much
quotes
fun.
Was it? John Maxwell or mine? Great job, Ashley. That was awesome. So, we're very excited because in the next couple of weeks, I'm going to have John joining me with a group of business owners that I've been mentoring and coaching in their leadership. What are you doing?
I'm trying to get to the bottom of the chat. Just keep talking.
This is kind of awkward.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, forgot we were on a show.
Okay.
Anyway,
So
I was just fixing the chats.
so we're very excited, as you can see, about having John Maxwell join us for the leadership program. So, Ashley, great job on the question game and the quote game. So what we want to talk about right now is how do you find a leader that can help you succeed easier? Because if you own a business and you're not asking yourself the question, how do I help my team? How do I help my employees succeed bigger, better, faster? How do I make their success easy? How do I help them accomplish more impactful goals? If you're not asking yourself that question, then you're probably not doing it in your business. And we know the number one biggest issue for business owners is disengaged employees.
So true. There was an event that we did over this weekend. We did our very first HVAC summit. If any of you guys were there, we'd love you to say hello in the chat. But there was this moment when we kicked off the event where a client, we always ask for intentions. So we're saying like, what is your intention for the next 12 hours that we're going to be together? And the client raised their hand and she said, I want to get my life back. And for me, like I practically gasped when she said that, because it's such a real phenomenon when you're owning a business. And in her case, it was a family business. And this idea of getting your life back all of a sudden, when your business isn't scaling properly and things are breaking and things are hard, that's exactly what it feels like. It feels like you don't have a life and that there's no way to pull yourself out of this hole. And so this is why we're here. This is also some of the content that John Maxwell teaches is about how you grow and develop yourself as a leader. What are those communication skills that you have to learn in order to pivot conversations that are very difficult in business? And I know that the team put together this awesome clip of John Maxwell talking about some of these conversations. I'm wondering if we can play that clip for you guys right now so we can talk about how you have difficult conversations with your team.
What I've found and discovered is in business and in life, we do good on positive feedback. We do good on positive markers. Hey, you're doing good. I think you're really okay. But we don't do good on the needed, many times, critical, essential, tough conversations, the difficult conversation. That's where we kind of pull out. And when I was young, I didn't want to have those. As a leader, I wanted to be positive and encourage people, and I didn't want to have those conversations like you and I have to talk. You know what I'm talking about? And my name is John, and I am your friend, but. But I learned as you're learning, that you have to have those marker difficult conversations immediately. In fact, my statement is shovel the pile while it is small. When there's a pile, shovel it. Because difficult conversations become more difficult the longer you delay them.
That is true. The longer you delay them, the more you put them off, the more you're passive about it. Not only does it become more difficult in your business, but it sends a message to everyone else in the business that you're not really committed to the business. And when you're not committed to the business, it sends a message that they shouldn't be committed to the business either. So what happens is you create a situation where your employees emotionally, tactically, structurally, strategically, operationally disconnect. And when that happens, you're in big trouble in business.
I love this idea of shoveling the pile while it's small, because I have always struggled with wanting to be liked. I want everybody to like me. I want our clients to like me. I want strangers on the street to like me. I, of course, want our team to like me. And I really struggled with this as I became a leader and responsible for team members, because I would notice things that were going on that I wasn't okay with, and that I knew it wasn't supposed to be like that. They were maybe not supposed to be on their phones, and I would walk by and watch them on Facebook, or maybe they would be showing up just 5 minutes late to a meeting. I'm like, oh, I don't really like this, or talking about things that just weren't really beneficial. Maybe they were saying something negative about a client, but I wouldn't know how to say anything because I was so worried about being liked. But then what happens is the pile got bigger and bigger and bigger, to the point where I just wanted to get rid of that person instantly, where really, if I would have shifted the conversation and shoveled when it was smaller, I would have been giving them the opportunity to fix something, instead of me being on my heels saying, I just can't take this any longer. And so many business owners, that's exactly how they go about letting team members go. You want to be liked in the moment, and you're not willing to pick up the shovel and shovel it while it's small. I never shoveled anything. Did you ever shovel things growing up?
Yes, I did. I
You
shoveled.
were in Minnesota, right?
I
So you had that
I worked on a
experience.
farm. I shoveled all sorts of things.
Okay, so what's the difference between when it's small versus when it's big, for those of us who haven't had any
When it-
shoveling experience?
When it's big, it's heavy.
When
When
is
it's
it
small, it's
harder
light.
when it's heavy?
Sometimes it's harder and heavier. And you know what? Sometimes it's hard to get the shovel through it because it's been encrusted because you didn't do it early on. So the idea here is, you had kittens, you had cats.
I did.
When you went into the kitty litter box and you didn't clean the kitty litter box out for a couple of weeks, because I remember coming over and it smelled kind of funny at your mom's house. When you didn't,
my mom would be so mad at you if she
She
was
would
on
be
this
mad
call
at me.
right now.
but
That's
you know
not
what
true.
happens when it gets hard and
He's
thick and
embellishing right
clumpy?
now.
You know, it's harder to do, and it's stickier.
I
So
like
you want to
that.
get it out earlier.
I like that. You shovel it while it's small.
That's right. That's right. So, you know, look, we are here for business owners and entrepreneurs. Put in the chat if this is your first time. If this is your first time, we've got a lot of new business owners that come on to Owners Live to kind of check out what we've got going on. HVAC, love it. First time, newbie, love it. New, welcome. First time. Look at all these first timers.
This is amazing.
This is awesome. Awesome. So since this is your first time, keep saying first time, because this is good for us. We like to see it. Look, if this is your first time, let me tell you what this is about. This is where we come on every single Tuesday evening, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific Coast time. And this is where we spend an hour taking questions from business owners or anybody that's got a question. We don't always get through all of them, but we take questions. This is where we talk about concepts and ideas. This is where we introduce things that you should be thinking about, maybe things you shouldn't be doing. And really, this is centered around how to grow and scale your business. But we understand that in order to grow and scale your business, you got to grow and scale your people. So a lot of times, not only will we talk about business initiatives, but we'll talk about personal, professional, and financial goals Because if you're not interested in your people succeeding and what their goals are, why should they be interested in your goals as the business owners or the goals of the people you serve through your business? So tonight's topic, because we have Dr. John Maxwell coming out, I have a leadership program with 150 business owners in it, and we're doing something very special for them February 7th and 8th in Scottsdale, Arizona. They've been in my leadership program for anywhere from 15 months to the past 3 months. And Dr. John Maxwell is coming out, and we're doing a private session for them. And anyone who wants to participate, even if you're not in my leadership program, if we're working with you, we've created a path for you to be able to join us. So all you need to do is shoot this barcode, have a conversation with one of our team members about how you can get to Scottsdale, Arizona, and spend a couple intimate days with John and I going over how to lead your team in order to create a more massive impact in 2022.
Ron took 11 of his people to the 10X boot camp.
That's awesome. Let's just go back and talk for a minute about boot camp. This was one, we've been in a lot of boot camps. We had more people at this boot camp, I think, than we have in a long time.
Well, I'm interested for all of you new first timers, if you would just share where you heard about this call. Like, was it from the boot camp or where did you come from? Because we would love to know how you heard about coming and joining this 10X Owners Live. I have a feeling it's boot camp, but I could be wrong.
AMI, awesome, boot camp, Miami.
Congratulating Ron.
Yeah.
I got
HVAC
the email.
Summit, awesome.
Got the
Grant
email
email.
a few minutes ago.
That's awesome, boot camp.
Amazing. Oh, that's so great. Okay, awesome.
That is awesome.
That's amazing.
All right, so you know what we can do? We've got a couple people here that have questions, and I can recognize a few of them. We did not get to them last week. We always try to get to those that had questions from the week before. So if you don't mind, JC, let's bring on our first question.
Dr. Patel, let's get you unmuted.
Awesome. How you doing, Doc?
I'm good. Thank you. Thanks for choosing me. Appreciate it. I have actually a question for Brandon and Natalie. I don't know if you know my history, and I started my practice from scratch, and I'm not a business guy, of course. So Brandon's question is, when you're asking a question, you always mention that asking the right question and expecting the right answer. What are the top 3 things that you can ask yourself to give you that understanding of asking the correct question? If you
understand, that's a good question.
Saying.
So what I talk about for those that are new, I talk about the fact that if you're going to ask anybody any kind of questions that you're going to take guidance or advice from, I give them the 3 questions I always ask. And this also includes executives or somebody I'm looking at hiring. My first question is, I ask, what's the most amount of money you've ever made in a year? Because I'm trying to qualify the impact this person has been able to have, because everyone always wants to sell you on their knowledge or their information or their skill set. But if they've never made any real money, then obviously the marketplace has not recognized that claim. So I want to know why. The second question I ask is, what's the biggest thing you've ever built, quantified by number of employees, revenue, and profitability? And then the third question is, what's the biggest thing you've ever been part of exiting or selling? Or did you get a severance package or a buyout package in your last company? Now, the reason I ask these questions of mentors, potentially, employees that I'm bringing in as executives, or any consultants, advisors, attorneys, business brokers, CPAs, it doesn't matter, anyone that has an opinion for me. The reason I ask this question is because if I have certain goals and the people giving me guidance and advice have never accomplished what I want to accomplish, I am talking to the wrong people. So numbers never lie. So I just want to understand what somebody's actually done. It's almost like if you're sitting there saying, hey, I have 10 employees, I want to scale my business to 100, and you're working with an advisor or a consultant who works by themselves, obviously, if somebody knew how to scale through people, why would they ever work by themselves. So you asked me about the kind of questions I would ask. The question should follow your intentions. So if your intentions are, Doc, I want to have 10 locations doing 50 million in revenue, that's $5 million per location. I want to be making 20% as a business. So 50 million, 20%, I'm making 10 million. And I want that business to be worth 8 times what I earn. So that's 80 million in net worth. Now, you see how I just clearly and concisely framed, if I, hypothetically being you, what I want to accomplish, reverse engineered to what the 5 key indicators would be. Now, the questions I would be asking myself is, who do I know that's done anything like that, that I can align with and get guidance and advice from? And then I would ask myself every time someone gave me an opinion, made a comment, told me what they did or didn't want to do, I'd qualify, is that person an example to where I want to go? And if the answer is no, I would know that whatever they're contributing into the conversation is nonsense and I should not be listening to it.
Nonsense.
Nonsensical.
It's not a lack of trust, because it's not this skepticism, but I even think of like, it's like fact finding. Instead of assuming that the person knows everything about what they're supposed to know about, it's this qualifying on the front end that you have to do with your team members, that you have to do with vendors, with clients, to understand where they're coming from so that you can meet
Trust
them
and
in that
verify.
place.
To your point, trust and verify.
Yeah. And he is so great at this, where he just naturally assumes that there's going to be a miscommunication between 2 people if he assumes something. So instead of assuming, he'll just ask all of these qualifying questions in the same way that you would a prospect. And it's a process that you could use with just about every single touch point that you would be having with any person.
And the thing you should be asking yourself is the information coming to me valid?
Mm-hmm.
And the only way you know if it's valid is if it's consistent with what you want to accomplish, and if it's coming from somebody who's an example of that. Otherwise, shut it down, because there's more bad advice, more wrong advice, more negative advice than there is good advice. So who you pick and choose to follow, listen to, and associate yourself with will determine who you become. So this is what we talk about. Collaboration is the new currency. Your affiliations, Napoleon Hill, I believe, said your network will result in your net worth. You hang with the wrong people, you're going to get the wrong result.
Mm-hmm.
It's your job as a human being to understand what you want to accomplish so you can find and align with the right people who can help you do it. And so when you're having all that self-talk, Doc, you need to be asking, what have they accomplished that's consistent with where I want to go? How willing are they to sit down with me and demonstrate exactly how they did it? Because if they're not willing to do that, you shouldn't be listening to them, because they probably didn't do it. Anybody that's done anything, if you're a chiropractor or you're a dentist, you're going to tell people what you do and you're going to tell them how you did it. Well, if you're a scaling expert or a money-making expert or a sales expert, you're going to want to talk about what you did.
Mm-hmm.
And so when they're not being clear and they're not being concise and they're being vague, it means they're probably full of themselves and not reality of what's going on. So you doctors need to become a surgeon of who you're listening to and who you let into your brain. The more concise all of you are about what you want to accomplish, the quality of your questions then will determine if you should listen to those people. So you should be asking yourself, anytime I take guidance and advice or somebody's opinion, I'm going to filter through questions if this person should even be allowed into my mind space.
I love Mike's comment. If you're going to fly with the eagles, you can hang out with turkeys.
There you go. Love it.
I love that.
Great question. Hope that answered it.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, that answered both
buddy.
questions, actually.
So Renata, let's bring Renata on.
Renata has to turn her camera
Oh,
on.
Renata, we have a rule
We
here.
got
Oh,
rules around here.
oh,
There she
there
is. Hello.
Hello. Hi, everyone. Guys, it's great to be up here with you guys.
Great to have
You
you
as
here.
well.
What's your question?
Sure. So I'm just wondering, I'm looking at, I've always worked in real estate on my own. It's been 13 years and I've done quite well, but I'm finding that now I'm getting super busy and I'm looking to expand. So I'm trying to figure out the best way to bring people onto my team? Do I join another team? Do I get people underneath me? What would your advice be for that?
Yeah. What firm are you with?
Remax.
Yeah.
Remax
So,
City in
this is a
Vancouver.
beautiful thing because we work very closely with Elena Cardone, who joined EXP for this particular reason. I call it the multi-money maker opportunity, because not only do you make money by doing what you do, which is listing or buying homes, but you also make a lot of money by developing teams and teaching them how to do it as well. And so you get the opportunity for overrides across the spectrum of many, many people, both directly contributing and learning from you and those they teach. So you get to expand through building massive teams, and you get equity in the organization for hitting certain milestones and benchmarks. So you're treated like a business owner, a partner in that organization. So I would tell you, if you're used to working alone, that is the hardest way to make a living long-term and to earn, because earning means earning through others, multiplying through others is really the strategy that all business owners should deploy, because that means you can take the art of what you learned to do, teach others, get them to go do it, and you can earn off of the success that you've helped them create. So trapping yourself is a very, very common. Look at the stats: 31.5 million small to mid-sized businesses in the United States, 25 million have one employee, the owner. So if you want to diversify through people, have more fun, be part of a system that teaches you how to do it, then just put in the chat here, how do we get a hold of, who should she talk to? She should talk to somebody in our team so we can connect you up to Elena. Because here's the thing, we teach through the rule of 3, how to grow and scale and expand through team members. So the thing is, you do it through real estate, we can not only show you how to do it, we can put you in a system that was built specifically for doing it. It's a great question.
That is a great question. She can DM the host. There you go.
Yeah, there you go.
Do we want to go to another question? Do you want to
Let's do
pick
it.
somebody?
Scooter or Jared or Scooter?
Scooter Scotty.
Love the name.
That's Scooter Scotty. Scooter Scotty.
Let's do it.
Okay.
Hey, how you doing, guys? Thank you for
Good.
calling.
How are
It's
you?
good to see you.
I want to send a quick shout out to Kate Trinza. I'm platforming with her, and she's my helper, and I've developed such a great relationship with her. I look forward to Mondays. My wife and I look forward to Mondays to get to spend some time with her. So thank you to her.
Kate's a rock
awesome.
star.
She is, and we love her. And also, Natalie, my question is kind of geared a little bit towards you. I've attended a People Essentials in Scottsdale before I came to my 10X 360 last summer. And so I put a lot of focus on people. I felt like that was the biggest issue that I had in growing my business. So recently I've hired back somebody that about a year ago, I was pretty much over them. But I realized after attending that People Essentials that, the problems that we had were probably mostly me, and that I was really missing out by not having this individual be part of my organization. So I brought him back. Another problem I'm having now is, we've done our R3 assessments and all that. We are both high driver, high influencer individuals, and we have difficulties communicating. Could you give me some insight on how I can, he needs some training. He's in management. He's a new manager, and I need to get him on board with the training, but it's like he wants to fight me about everything.
Oh gosh. Yeah. So we believe in this idea of being leader wrong. And what I mean by that is, if it's in a conversation in Grant's enterprise and Grant's the decision maker, Grant is Grant wrong. There's nobody else who gets to fight or argue their opinion with him. People will present, hey, I think this is the right idea. But at the end of the day, it's Grant saying, I'm making the decision because I am the decision maker. And then if he's wrong, he gets to fix it. So in our organization, that's how it works as well. If it's a Brandon decision, I will plead my case, but ultimately certain things are his decision. And then when it goes to my team, I'm the exact same way. They will present information, but at the end of the day, there are very clear boundaries about what I am or am not willing to negotiate on or have a conversation with. And so I would figure out, regardless of the driver influencer piece, I would figure out what you want those boundaries to be and stop allowing any conversation outside of where you're willing to have it be pushed out to. So if he's pushing back in an area where you've already made the decision, like I would be as direct and driver-esque as possible.
This is where I've made this decision and we're going to move forward with this. And we'll see in 2 weeks from now where this lands and reevaluate then. And then the conversation's over. And she doesn't negotiate because that you're wasting time. That goes to those 3 questions. What's the most amount of money? What's the biggest thing you've ever built? What's the biggest thing you've ever been part of selling? And if it's not more than what you're doing as a business owner, then you're in charge and you're moving the business to where it needs to go. But you have to temper that. That's a dictator environment. So you have to use influence, which is to sit down and say, hey, when I hired you back on, I sat down and went through your personal, professional, financial goals. And I showed you how you can accomplish them through the business. But if you're unwilling to do the things that will allow you to hit your goals, then you're not serious about my goals. And if you're not serious about my goals, you're not serious about the team's goals. You're not serious about the business goals. And you're probably not serious about our clients' goals. So at the end of the day, I refuse to have people working here that aren't pursuing their goals. And the way you pursue your goals is by demonstrating through the resources and the investments that I've created to develop you. The way you demonstrate you're serious is by doing it, not arguing with it, not debating it, not telling me you have a different strategy or a different idea when you've never actually built anything.
And you just don't want to set the team up for conversations that you've already made a decision around. So there could be things that you're going into, opening it up for conversation when really you already know what the answer is. I don't talk about those things. Like, this is what we're doing. I likely send a very short email. People who work with me know that I am notorious for sending very direct. They're not purposefully short, but they're just direct emails about some direction that we're going in. And once I've sent that email, if I am like, wait a second, maybe that's not the right thing, I will then open it up to say, hey, do you have a better idea? Or let me know if you have a better idea. And I might not even say it like that. I might just say, let me know if there's something that I'm not seeing in this, but that's only if I want to know what I'm not seeing. But many of you, and I know you're in this position, you have a million decisions to make every single day. And so in scaling a business, how do you start trusting the decisions that you're making and then trusting the decisions that your team members are making, but have very clear boundaries between what decisions you're responsible for and what decisions they're responsible for?
And here's the thing to remember: law of the lid. John Maxwell, 21 irrefutable laws. The lid is the cap. You're not going to hire someone with a higher lid to come work for you because that you can't attract them underneath you. They got a higher ability. They got a higher thinking. They got a lot higher leadership influence. So if someone's underneath you, it means they don't know more than you know, because they would leave. Your job's to elevate yourself and pull them up. But if you have somebody resisting that and trying to pull you down, then you need to eliminate it. And I will be honest with you. We have a rule in our organization. Until you're an absolute top performer and you've been a consistent top performer, you don't even have an opinion in the organization. Your job is to duplicate what we've proven to you works. Understand if this is your first time, I'm not trying to be a hard ass, but here's the thing. Scale is maximizing what you have. So where people go wrong in the business growth cycle is they start and they go to scaling. Scaling is the rapid expansion of what you can prove works. Mm-hmm. Well, the middle part that gets them all in trouble is the scale. If you're not testing into what works and you can't prove what works and you can't demonstrate to others what works and you can't show them how to replicate it. And so you get randomizing in your business. When you get randomizing in your business, multiple people doing multiple things, the business collapses and fails. Mm-hmm. So the rule is until you've duplicated what we're teaching you that we can prove works, you don't have an opinion. You only need to be mastering what we're teaching you. And if you want to test that, then let's look at the evidence, because I never talk, for new people watching this, I never talk about concepts or ideas that aren't supported by data. I am a huge data person. So let's use the data. 31.5 million small to mid-sized businesses in the United States. 25 million have one employee, which is the owner of the business. They don't even know how to hire anybody and delegate anything to them. 5.3 million businesses have between 2 and 12 employees, and only 600,000 businesses out of 31.5 have more than 12 employees. So what that tells you is between 2 and 12 employees, there's so much randomizing going on that the business cannot grow over 12 employees. So 1.8% of the businesses have more than 12 employees. Now, here's another stat to support this. 2/3 of those 31.5 million businesses will fail cyclically every 5 years, and 97% fail every 10. So if you want to listen to what we're talking about and you want to test why I'm saying what I'm saying, look at the facts and look at the stats. Facts and
Thank
the
you.
stats. Does that almost make me like a rapper?
Oh, boy.
Facts and stats.
No, it
No?
does not.
I have to stop. Okay.
Definitely. Let's stick to your.
Let's
day
go to
job.
Jared Ritter. Anybody that wears a jacket like that could be a rapper.
Oh, boy.
Yeah,
Hey,
the
Jared, how
triple
are you,
B,
buddy?
Triple breezy. Got to get in the rap game. Here we go.
No.
What's up, guys?
Hi, Jared.
I think I'll stick to real estate and Blazers, but
Good plan.
yeah, thank you guys. Appreciate you calling on me. I will be at the John Maxwell and Brandon Dawson Mastermind, so super excited to be there. So kind of following in like the leadership footsteps, that kind of idea, and Renata's question, actually, model, mimic, master, multiply is something we've been paying attention to a lot. My question is, what is the best way to kind of conduct that and still compress time? Because a lot of the things I feel like I'm doing do take time, and I understand that's part of it, but attack speed. What's the best rule to follow for this?
Yeah, great comment. And for those that this is your first time, when we teach business owners in our scaling process how to grow and scale, we teach them the 4 Ps and the 4 Ms. The 4 Ps are how to properly promote, all the different ways to promote, how to create a profit, and how to measure the ability to create profit, how to put process around promoting and converting to profit, and then multiply people. And that's the 4 Ps. That'll get you to about $8 million. Then the 4 Ms, 8 million in revenue. The 4 Ms is model, mimic, and master the Ps through more people. The 4th M is multiply your people. That'll take you to 25 million using the rule of 3 and all the other rules that we teach in our scaling or our 10X 360 program. So what he's asking is, how do you do the 4 A's? Acknowledge you have an issue, accept it as fact, take action towards what you want, and as you gain momentum, attack it. Okay, so he's talking about attack speed in the model, mimic, and mastery section of growing and scaling your business. And the way you do it, Jared, is you identify the granular incremental things that allow people to succeed. You train until people become exceptionally efficient. You need to develop 3 superstars. You need to develop 3 superstars, and then you need to have them, once they're top performers, work with you to multiply that by 3 each. That means you go from 3 superstars to 3 times 3. So now you have 12 superstars. So in theory, those 12 superstars are going to build your business by about 15 or 18x, because they're all going to get more efficient because they're working together on those granular things that you know works. And then all you need to do as a business owner is hold them to the rules and bring more customers to them. So this is where the P's become important back in promoting. Promote what you do, promote why you do it, promote who you do it with, promote why someone would want to come work with you to do it, promote what's in it for them if they do it with you, promote the impact that you're creating on the community you're serving, and promote human beings into higher levels of positions while you grow and scale the business. So promote isn't marketing, promote is everything. And so when you start to grow and scale, you got to go back and master the promote.
For me, the way that I operationalize this is, if you have a business that is doing under $10 million in revenue, you cannot afford to hire a dedicated role to just do business processes within your organizations. Once you've hit that 10 to 15 million range, and it depends on your level of profitability, but somewhere between that 10 to 15 million range, you should be able to have a dedicated resource whose job is solely to duplicate and document all these processes. Well, if you aren't there yet, and many of the businesses, most of the business owners might not be there yet. So how do you fix that? 10% of every team member's time today for the rest of time until you're able to get to that 10 to 15 million mark should be spent documenting processes. So this morning we read this quote. It's actually one of my quotes. One of my favorite quotes is, processes are sexy. I had this whole, my own internal campaign around how you make process sexy back 2 years ago, because we were in this point that many of your guys' businesses are in. We needed to create processes in our organization. We didn't have the resource to be able to do it. And so it was every single leader holding their team members accountable to actually documenting in a standardized way how they do the work that they do. And even though it wasn't 100% perfect because one person didn't have overarching oversight, we at least had a foundation of 65% that allowed us a year later to not just be in this chaos state when we were able to hire this person on, because there was something to work off of and there wasn't just madness and disorganization everywhere.
Yeah, thank you for the reply, guys. And it's funny you say that, Brandon. My top 3 producers outside of myself last year, all 3 are starting teams of 3 right now to start off 2022. And I told them, I want to get them to that point of show me, let me, tell me, coach me, or show me, tell me, let me, coach me. Yeah. And I'm trying to get them to the coach me part where I just get to be their coach. And we are kind of implementing that rule of 3 right now.
And you got to be, Jared, you just got to be a little patient, because you went from $1 million to $2.5 million. Now you're going to pop to 5 million, and then you go to 10. I know it's frustrating, dude. When we launched Cardone, 30 months ago, the first 6 months we did 2.5 million. Then we went to 14.5 million. Then we went to 40 million. This year we're going to go to 75 million. But I wanted to go straight from 0 to 100 million. But the thing is, you got to spool up your teams. You got to spool up your systems.
Yeah.
You got to spool up your process. Natalie is 100%. She runs the team that builds the processes for the whole organization. Well, so she's in attack speed, because as we're hiring more people and they're building their integration and what they need to do from a process standpoint to interconnect and intersync across the whole enterprise, she's picking up speed because she's doing more of it with her team over and over and over and over and over. And that's how you get bigger, better, faster, and how you elevate. And when you get a team of 30, 40, 50, 60, 100 people doing that, that's when you really find the horsepower that can exist in an organization.
Absolutely. Love following your guys' example. Thank you for the time.
Thanks, brother.
Thanks, Jared.
All right, let's bring our next guest on.
Who do you want to pick on?
This Robert, I put a comment in. And so if you could click on Robert.
Robert Pelletier.
Hey, how are
Robert,
you?
how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. What's your business? So everybody here knows.
I own a manufacturing company in California. So it's called Pacific Hardwood. We make custom hardwood floors.
That's
So everything
awesome.
everything we do is domestically manufactured. So the challenge I'm having is the business has continued to scale from 4 to 14 million over the last 24 months or so. I've been able to pull myself out a bit where maybe I'm spending 20 hours a week in that business, and I've diversified into others, but I'd like to continue to scale that business. But I need an A player to really come in and be kind of the COO of the business. And the challenge that I'm having is, even at 14 to 16 million dollars, I found it almost impossible to attract some A-level talent. So we've been able to, I can bring in somebody to be kind of a general manager and just keep things kind of humping along. But I'm really struggling trying to find the right folks who are going to have the horsepower to both continue to scale my business and also not just be there for a year and bounce on to something bigger and better.
Yeah. So it's a great, so Robert, this is an implication of not talking about a big enough business. So small thinking gets small results. So what happens is when you're struggling finding people in that 15, so you're in breakpoint 3, by the way, you're at the start. So breakpoint 1 is 100,000 to 3 million. Breakpoint 2 is 3 to 8. Breakpoint 3 is 8 to 15. Breakpoint 4 is 15 to 25. So you're at the top end of breakpoint 3. And anybody that's been following me knows I say this all the time. It is the most dangerous place to be in all the breakpoints. Because breakpoint 1 is the what you do. The what you do needs to work, and you've got your hands on it, and you can go from 100 grand to 3 million. And then breakpoint 2 is who you do it with. So all of a sudden you start getting a few people and you can kind of put them together, which is what you're describing. Breakpoint 3 is all the process, heavy process that Natalie was just talking about that's in place. But to then go from breakpoint 3 to breakpoint 4, you need to follow the rule of 3. You actually need 3 different leaders across your organization that you've developed to work together, because You're not going to hire somebody that's running $100 million business down to work for you unless you give up 35% of your company to them if they're worth their weight. So now what happens when you go from breakpoint 3 to 4 is you have to develop and diversify through 3 different people in the business that you're nurturing and working with, because now you take a third of what you do and a third of what you do and a third of what you do, and you give it to 3 people. And now they're doing 100% of your third. And now you're working with them to get them to work together as one, because that's what you used to do. But now you're going and looking at other ventures because for whatever reason, you're not excited about having a $15 million business that you can take to $150 million. Now, we bought a flooring business with our partner, Oliver Fernandez. That was, the owner had that business for like 20 years, and it was sitting at $5 million, and it had been doing 5 million for the last 5 or 6 years. We closed on that business, and in 5 months, we were doing $1 million a month. So the reason this is important is you need to be talking about a story of building a $100 million company. You need to develop your team that can push you to 25 million. From that, they'll develop 3 people under them. That'll push it to 50 million. And then at 50 million, you have a new complexity. That's where you can start bringing in some people that know how to run a $100 million company, because you're big enough, you've had enough growth that they can see that the business can go from 50 million to 250 million, and they can win with the business. And then, you know, that team that's gotten it there, you need to connect them into that win too. And you need to be telling them, hey, at 50 million, we're going to bring some help in here, because your teams that are loyal and been with you and pushing, they're going to want all the ability to build the business, but there's a part of them that knows they can't. I mean, even our organization, we went from startup to $50 million of revenue in 2 years. Some of my executives, they're moving on because now we're beyond any experiences they've had, and they're not certain they want the responsibility of going from being an individual contributor to all of a sudden managing a team of 20 or 30 people. And because it's a different level of expertise, you go from a producer to a manager of people. And there are a lot of self-inspired people that want to be a part of something great, but when all of a sudden they get bogged down in the requirement to be managers, that's not their expertise. And it's a natural iteration that your organizations go through. So what you need to do is you need to come work with us, get to a 10X3. Have you been to a 10X 360?
No, I'm actually trying to get to the marketing summit in February.
Perfect. That's a great place to start.
Yeah,
but your issue is going to be having a mindset that you're going to build a $100 million company. That's all you talk about. And now we need to help you. So you should come to People Essentials or 10X 360 to learn the process of the rule of 3, because it's not just 3 people. It's how you divvy up responsibilities.
Yeah, I think that's really good. Like, I have those 3 now. I have a guy that does all my finance, a guy that does all my ops, and I have a guy that does all my procurement. And they're basically doing my job. That's why I really don't need to be there. I mean, it's a whole.
No, but here's the thing. So this is the disconnected. If you've got a $150 million business, they need you there, because my guess is none of those 3 have ever built it, nor have you probably, or maybe you have. But the thing is that just leaving them to keep doing what they're doing means you've capped their lids. Who's pulling them? Who is pulling that team to $100 million? Who's the authority that they can go to that's pulling them up and setting a vision that we're going to 100 million? Who on your team is doing that?
Sorry, they muted me there. No one right now. That's me.
Okay, so now you know what the problem is. You've established a lid. You're comfortable. You are sending a message that you're kind of bored with the business because you're going off and diversifying. There's nothing wrong with any of that. I'm not telling you. What I am saying to you, though, is you're in a dangerous spot because you're big enough to be real and you're not big enough to be really real. So if all of a sudden you lose a few people because whatever, then you'll collapse down to break point 1 or 2. We see this all the time. So you have to make a choice right now. Take it bigger, or run the risk of having it retreat.
Makes sense. All right. Thank you.
I can't wait to see you at the marketing event. And by the way, we love the flooring space. We're going to create a $1 billion flooring company. So why don't you just have a little fun and do it with Grant Cardone and myself?
I would just like to add for everybody else. So this is not the first time that you guys have heard a question around, I can't find any great people, whether that's in sales or marketing or any other role, COO, president, your right hand, whatever that might be. I have a challenge for each of you. If you have muttered or thought the words, I can't find great people for a specific role, I would challenge you to type in your organization's name into Google. I just did this little search on your business, Robert, but I would, for everybody in the audience, type in your business name into Google and then type the word careers and search for careers as if you were an applicant to one of your jobs. Because if there's no clear path for somebody to even go through and say, oh, wow, they're looking for somebody like me, or they're interested in attracting talent, or they're growing. If there's no page and no communication with potential team members that you're open for business, then why are they going to be interested and how are they going to find you? And so I would highly recommend every one of you guys, I like to think through the candidate journey, because that's a separate side of marketing. That's where people in marketing come together. And, you know, there's a nice marriage between these two operating functions inside any business. You want
Awesome.
to unmute the next person?
Yeah. So we're going to bring Christian up.
Christian, let's get you unmuted. Hi.
What's going on, Natalie? Hey, Brandon, how are you?
Good, buddy. How are you?
Fabulous.
Awesome. I appreciate you guys for hosting this. It's been incredible. So super grateful for everything that you guys do. My question is, actually, my personal business qualified for a government program that I wasn't aware of through our accountant. Since then, we've scaled that business that was originally given to us. We've now scaled over 2,000 clients and 150 million in revenue in the last 6.5 months. So it's became my only business and my only focus due to that. My question is, in order to make the right partnerships, which is, alluding to the question that you were helping with earlier and listening to the right people, I'm aware of the exits that you've been able to see. What's the best opportunity to be around individuals who've done those things that you've already done if you've already surpassed most of your network?
Yeah, it's a great question and it happens fast. So congratulations on your success. What programs have you been to that we offer? Have you been to the 10X 360?
I've not been to the 10X 360. We actually together I was able to be a part of your guys's, the 10X Growth Con with you and Natalie up in your guys' suite, which actually allowed me to meet an individual that I've built this company with over the last 6.5 months. So you guys have a lot of the success that we've been able to create is accredited to you guys.
That's awesome. So we always like to get our 25%.
Well, that's a conversation. I'm here in Scottsdale, so let's get lunch and let's.
Yeah. So look, we have a 10X 360. We have got a whole bunch of programs. If you're scaling that fast, your biggest threat is not increasing your leadership lid. Okay. So here's what I would tell you. There's 2 programs and they're happening the same week. The 7th and 8th, I'm doing the leadership program with John Maxwell. And then on the 11th and 12th, I believe we're doing a 360. So for you, if you're having that kind of success, you need to be there for both of those things because things catch up really super fast. And the only way that you can keep up with that kind of growth is by dialing in your sensitivity to basically think of an algorithm. Your entrepreneurial intuition needs to be evolved and developed so that when things are happening in live fire, you start getting context and contrast to what's happening and what you need to do about it. Because otherwise you're practicing. And it is so dangerous when you're going through hyper scaling to be practicing. It's absolutely, and if you think about it, when you hear it that way, it's like, why, given the choice to do something else, and be developed. So a guy, what based on your question, who should you be in the room with? I would think you should be in the room with the #1 leadership guru in the world. I think you should be in the room because Grant Cardone's going to be popping out there for that as well. You should be in the room with Grant Cardone. You should be in the room with myself. You should be in the room with Natalie, who's we've created a business that's worth $250 million in 24 months here. So you want to be only talking to those people that are just above where you're going. Otherwise, all the other guidance and advice is wrong because it's not relative.
100%. Yeah, I appreciate that. And I've been blessed to have a little bit of proximity to John, which has been part of the reason we've been able to see success. proximity to you guys has been incredibly helpful as well. So it's been a humbling last 6.5, 7 months. And I think for us, we've scaled on the back end. Luckily, it's very high ticket. So for the amount of revenue we've been able to do, it's actually not that many clients. But I think finding the right partnership with people who have done what we've been able to do, and being able to also leverage, what we're able to bring to the table with their audience is probably where we're at this point. So I'm looking forward to hopefully seeing you very soon.
Yeah, well, hopefully we'll see you there that whole week, because we're going to be there, and maybe you come out and watch a little golf with us on the 16th green.
That sounds great. Yeah, we actually have an event on Friday at the private airport at the hangar on Friday morning as well too. So looking
Awesome.
forward. I'll definitely be around that weekend.
Let's do it, man. Look forward to seeing you. Congratulations, buddy.
Thank you.
Speaking of the event, why don't we just throw that slide up there one more time? I know we have just a few minutes left on this 10X Owners Live. What Brandon was just talking about, this Business Mastery and Leadership Mastermind, is going to be incredible. It's on February 7th and 8th in Scottsdale, Arizona. The fun part about this mastermind is if you come for the 7th and 8th, the 9th is a day at the Waste Management.
It's surprising. Yeah, it's going to be.
What it's called?
Yeah,
Waste
it's going to be
Management
the.
Tour? No.
No, it's going to be
Tournament.
Yeah,
Do we call it?
Yeah, it's a golf
A
tournament.
tourney? Is that
So-
what the golfers call it?
No.
A golf tourney?
No.
Okay.
So so if you come to the leadership program that Wednesday, we're going to spend all day at the golf course. It's going to be fun. It's going to be really fun because it's the Pro-Am, and they always make sure that is a lot of fun. So we look forward to hosting for this. So we're excited. I cannot wait for that week. It's going to be a remarkable week.
That's
So
right.
good. Let's ask another question. Who should we bring up?
Oh boy. Okay. Let's see. What about Harold?
Hey, Harold, how are you, buddy?
Harold, what's up?
Well, hello. Hi, enjoyed meeting
Hi.
you guys at the event this past weekend. My question real quick is, so when seeking a potential mentor, to ask the 3 questions, should I only seek somebody who is in the industry that I'm working in? I'm already signed up for the 360. I'll be out there on the 10th and 11th, so I'll be learning from you guys. But based on those 3 questions, that's the question I came up with.
It's a great look. It's a great question. The problem is it gets really super, super small when it comes to the opportunity, because, first you have competitors, or you might only have a handful of people you can talk to. What's more important than people that are in your industry are people who are doing something currently that's consistent with where you want to go. The biggest mistake people make when they get mentors, it's like, I have so many remarkable mentors in my life, but when I was 26, 27, 28, my mentors were like 55 and 60. They were worth 50 million to 75 million. And that was always my target, to be worth 50 and 75 million. Well, all of a sudden, fast forward to my late 40s, my net worth's more than what theirs is. And they hadn't worked for 10 years. A lot of them are retiring and playing golf. And so all of a sudden I get pulled into, that's where I should go. I should be on the golf course. I should be doing vacationing.
At the tourneys?
At the tourneys. And Natalie and I all of a sudden started getting in that role. And we felt it was entirely out of alignment of what of our purpose and our skill sets. And so what you want to do is, most importantly, you want to identify with the areas that you're striving to achieve. And the closer you can get to somebody who's doing that currently and as an example. So for us, just so you guys are clear, when we knew we wanted to go build a business together, one of our criterias was somebody who had a net worth that was between 350 and 500 million, because I'd already achieved the 100 million plus mark. So I wanted somebody who was 350 to 500. We wanted to work with somebody who could complement something we did, not entirely different, but not the same. So in this case, finding somebody where I could add value and she could add value, but we weren't competing with something they were already doing, because that would be a conflict. The third thing was somebody that was doing it in a lifestyle that was consistent with how we want to live our life.
Mm-hmm.
And so we don't want to get a mentor that's doing something in a way where we don't really want to do that, because it's going to be incongruent. It's going to create resistance. Another huge factor for us was we wanted somebody who is working with a spouse. That was really important to us, because we wanted to go build something together, not apart. And so we wanted an example of somebody who was doing that. So you understand that our criteria was getting tighter and tighter and tighter, but it wasn't one criteria like, oh, they have to be doing what we're doing. So what I would do is suggest to you that you get your criteria, your 3 to 5 things that are the most important things to you. You write them down, and then you start filling in who has accomplished what and can get closest to what you want to accomplish. And then those would be the people that you'd want to lean into and anchor into. And, you know, quite honestly, every one of my mentors that changed my life, besides my personal mentors, John Maxwell, Robert Anthony, Sharon Lecter, Jim Collins, Michael Gerber. I didn't know any of those people. They became my mentors through the bodies of work that they did, which was their books. And because I mastered their books, I met them over a period of time, started working with them and became friends, collaborators. And so now all of a sudden, fast forward 20 years later, those mentors are people that I've had an opportunity to impact that have impacted my life. So the clearer and more concise you can get about what you want to accomplish, you can start grabbing pieces from other people. But if it isn't consistent with where you want to go, if it's incongruent it's going to cause problems. So you want to be really clear about those goals and accomplishments and then find people that align with it.
One of the activities that we walk people through is having them list their personal, professional, and financial goals. And then for each one of those goals, how do you assign a mentor to the goal that has already accomplished it in that area? Because some people are really into fitness and want to have a certain physique. I'm not going to look at a business mentor for that goal, but I'm still going to have that goal while I have my business growth goals. In an ideal scene, you have the fewest number of mentors because they've been able to put their life together in all of the ways that you wanted. And for us, that was Grant and Elena having all of these things, great parents, dynamic leaders, were able to give back to their community and philanthropy, incredible with their relationship with each other and prioritize that and the work that they did. So we didn't have to look at all of these different people. Oh, I'm going to study this person for this and this person for that and this person for this. The fewer amount of people you're getting different ideas from, the better, because then you're really able to hone in on, oh, this can be real for me. I don't have to come up with some new version of myself and a new version. Are we still on?
No, hey, JC,
Can you guys
this
see
died
us?
here.
Yes.
Oh, great. Okay. Just that one died.
Awesome.
So you can take each one of your goals and ideally parse it out, but the best is to be able to consolidate who those mentors are. And I always say Elena Cardone was my best friend before I even met her. And I listened to every single podcast. For those of you who are new from this boot camp and you just met us this last week, I highly encourage you, check Brandon out on YouTube. Also, he has an incredible podcast called The Dawson Show. Our most successful clients have shown up to the 10X 360 and listened to a significant body of Brandon's content that he's put out there because they're already invested in actually coming to this event. So go all in with learning all of these things so that you can really soak it in and you're able to ask better questions once you show up.
Yeah. So look, go to the Dawson Show. It's on iTunes. It's on, you can also go to my YouTube channel. It's Brandon M. Dawson. That's right. We lost
You'll
our
find it.
videos. So
You'll find it. They'll put it in the chat.
Yeah, put it in the chat.
The link is right there.
Perfect. And look, I don't know how many shows I've put out, but
they're gold.
The thing is,
they're gold.
It's how I did it. It's how I found everything you're hearing me talk about at some level. I go deep into it on my podcasts because for those of you that are new here, I try to be really concise about how I was successful. I'm not telling you it's the only way to do it for certain, but what I learned because of my past mistakes was I was not concise. I was just always going so fast. And then the people behind me would try to pick up the pieces. So one of the things I had to learn my next iteration in 2002, 2003, 2004 was, if I'm going to do something, I need to track why I'm doing it, what the expected outcome is, and what the result actually was, so I can modify my behavior and modify what I'm doing. And that became a process for me. So I started documenting every single thing and turning everything into a system. And what I teach with people that work with us is that system that then I went and spent millions of dollars of research on to look at hundreds of industries, thousands of businesses, why they failed, where they struggled. And that created our whole breakpoints research and science that our teams work against to help you grow and scale your business so that you can make the right decisions at the right time with the highest level of impact.
I love it. Why don't we put that slide up one last time for people who are interested in joining us at the mastermind next week? You can hear it on a podcast. You can hear it on YouTube, but why not be there in person and actually get to meet and spend time with Brandon Dawson and Dr. Maxwell? That is February 7th and 8th in Scottsdale, Arizona. Shoot that QR code and let's have a conversation with our team about how we can get you there.
And that's awesome. Look, everybody, we love this community. We appreciate you. We love being here with you.
Love the clients and so appreciate how the Cardinal Ventures team is representing in the chat. Elena Cardone's definition of support is my favorite definition. This entirely changed my life when I heard this definition. Her definition of support is taking active interest in the success of. So if you're supporting a friend, if you're supporting your significant other, that means you are taking active interest in their success. Well, you guys are taking active interest in your success. You are supporting yourself by coming onto this call. Our team is supporting us by showing up and being actively interested in our success, but also your success. How can you do that over the next week? I challenge you between now and next Tuesday when you join us on 10X Owners Live. How can you support the people that you are actively interested in helping be successful? Because that is the definition of support.
And leadership, making
So
other
true.
people's success easy.
So true.
So this concludes another show of 10X Owners Live, and we'll see you next week. The whole purpose of this show is to engage with business owners and be able to answer questions for people that will give them some insight and perspective on how to grow and scale a business. Not only leadership, but real life examples. This is the golden moment. I would do business with you right now.